Okay, so nice to meet you, Justin, and
Hi,
welcome to
hi,
the podcast.
hi. Nice to
And
meet you, Farid.
so, just to explain what we are going to talk about today, to the listeners, we are going to talk about how you actually, manage to buy a startup, you know, market it, and then sell it. So basically, buy something, you make it even better, and then sell it. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think I have heard, anyone in the Twitter community to do that before. So I think many people would be interested to learn how exactly you did that, how it started, and so on. So can you tell me like just a little bit about yourself? Because you also said you have like a 9 to 5 job as well. So what do you do like for your job?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go a bit deeper into the startup in a bit. But to introduce myself, I work in a maritime startup that
Hmm.
focuses on digitalization for the specific to maritime commerce. So we build software platforms and all sorts of apps and web apps. Where I do the sales and marketing. So
Hmm.
I'm a non-technical worker, I guess, by default.
Yeah.
But
So sorry,
so
what is maritime? I'm sorry, what is maritime?
shipping, maritime.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
shipping product. Okay, okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So generally, most of the seaborne
Hmm.
shipping processes,
Yeah.
we generally create software for. We're starting at the port services. So any transport in between the Singapore port, we've developed a
Hmm.
basically an Uber for B2B ships. So that's one of the interesting products that we have. So you can book it in the
Wow.
app, and then you say, I need a boat to go up to this vessel, and that's as easy as it gets. But it's also pretty easy because the industry is heavily traditional. So there's a lot of digital processes that can be inserted almost anywhere in the shipping chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
but maybe
Yeah,
I'll
I've
just
heard.
go.
I've seen many startups. I've seen some startups pop up recently in the like shipping industry because it's. I think like as far as I know, it's very old fashioned. So I feel like there's lots of opportunities there. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. There's no shortage of opportunity. Maritime, the shipping industry is super ripe for disruption. Disruption. You can probably cast a stone and you would hit the maritime startup anywhere. There are some really notable ones like Flexport. They're doing all these logistic
Hmm.
startups as well, and decarbonization focused ones for voyage optimization. So many very deep tech and very impressive startups. But what we're focusing on is on the ground level, the ground tech, the most basic form of digitalization. We feel that that is also very important, and without collecting the data at the source, all these deep technology, won't be as useful. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so your main job is already pretty exciting, and you said that you're doing sales and marketing, and I think that explains how you were able to market the products that you bought. And so let's talk about that. What was the startup that you bought? And yeah.
Okay, so along the way from my full-time job, I just decided that I do want some supplementary income. So I started to look at these marketplaces for side projects like Micro Acquire, Microns IO, Nano Acquire, quite a few, and then I finally stumbled upon sideprojectors.com. And I just spent a few days just scrolling through, looking at, first of all, looking at you know just interesting things that people have been making, try to see what the market is like, what's the trend. A lot of AI, a lot of micro SaaS for invoicing for freelancers, all sorts of things all over the place. But somehow this AI copywriting tool caught my eye, and it was called copyscouts.com. So it was built uh, and put up on this marketplace. I think it was pretty much pre-revenue, or at least very early into its launch. So it didn't really have too many customers. But of course, I mean, AI during I mean, even right now, at this point in time, is still very trending. It was something, that immediately caught my eye. I was like, wow, I hadn't really played around with GPT-3 or any of those open AI tools before that. But somehow, for some reason, I just opened up the website, I played around with it, did the free trial. I, tried to type in my own things. And I was like, wow, super interesting. So I reached out to the creator. I was like, hey, can we work a deal out? And actually, I missed out a big point. I was looking at another website to begin with. I was looking at this social proofing website. But somehow along the way, I decided I wouldn't know how to market it or even launch it. Yeah, but when I saw Copy Scouts, I think it was something that I felt a bit more confident on. So after buying it, there was this whole process of transferring all the assets, the source code, the servers and all that to me, and that was completely new to me because I don't know how to run my own website. So that was a big learning curve, and I don't understand coding. I don't come from a technical background, like I mentioned. So actually, to maintain the site at the start, I had to call so many friends, all my coding friends. I said, "Hey, can you help me? Do you know PHP?" And then I would Google and YouTube my own tutorials. I even broke the site maybe 2 or 3 times just by accidentally deleting something from the database that wasn't supposed to be deleted. So I actually had to call the previous creator, the owner, I think, yeah, 1 or 2 times to just be like, hey, sorry, I really messed up. I broke it. Can you please help me? And because he made it, so he's very familiar with what I might have done. So he fixed it in like less than an hour. But then I think after a while, I managed to, get a bit more solid footing, and I learned a bit of the ins and outs, how to access the front end side of it, change the copy on the landing page. Also went a bit deeper into how OpenAI API calls work, and I found myself like fine tuning the AI engine so that like copyscars.com wouldn't come up on plagiarism checkers or AI detectors like the ones on Hugging Face. And then I decided, okay, while I'm doing all this, I think it's time to launch. What's the best way to get in the market? Because I'm trying to do this with zero budget. I'm trying to do this without spending more than I need to. Uh, so then I just started to, write on Reddit forums. I was like, oh, there's this cool tool I'm trying to, I started this new cool thing. I bought it over. Please give it a shot. If you don't like it, tell me why. And then I stumbled upon indiehackers.com, which is just a community website for a lot of people that are also similarly trying to start up their own solo entrepreneur journey or even build their own tools. And then I just created an account and just started writing there. I was like, okay, I now have copy scouts. This is what I'm trying to do. I just launched an AI website that does copywriting. But back then there was already huge competition from Jasper, Copy AI, Copy Shark, Copymatic, all these really really heavily funded or at least very popular tools. So what makes mine stand out? So that's where I try to play around with integrations, try to make it a sustainable AI business. So at one point I actually had Handprint Technology, which is a company that does sustainable embedded technology into any service. So basically, for every customer that I had, I pledged with Handprint to plant trees. So yeah, I think I planted about 25 trees, which was quite cool. But that was just for me. I didn't actually have 25 customers at the start. It was just for me to actually show and get more support from people. So then I decided, okay, what's the better way to launch? Because I can't be writing on forums every day. And then I just Googled, I found side projectors. First of all, I just relaunched on the same websites that I found it on. But instead of putting it up for sale, I put it for showcase. There was also product hunt, beta list, beta page, all these sort of feature websites for submitting product launches. I was on there, I even made myself a little name card. I don't have it now on my phone anymore, but I would go around to people and ask them, all my content marketer friends. I say, hey, do you write? Use my AI tool. I'll let you, use it free for like the first 3 weeks. Even though it says a 14 days free trial or something, just use it. Pay me after. And somehow it started to catch on. I got people, writing in from the website saying, they want this, they want that. Can you please make this feature? People started offering me for copy scouts actually on side projectors. They were like, I want to give you $300 for it, $500 for it. And I never thought about selling it. I was only focused on growing it and trying to really run a side business by myself. Somehow or rather, this lady called Patricia reached out. So basically, the email was just like, this thing on your site is not working, or like I can't log in even after I've paid for PayPal. So I emailed back. I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm checking and I'm running the maintenance now. I'll fix it for you." So I got that done. I fixed it, and then after which, the bottom of the email said, this is broken. I'm interested to look at your product because I want to acquire it. So I was like, okay. Now I wasn't thinking too much about it, but I was just, like, okay, I fixed the problem now, but would you like to tell me, tell me more about who you are? And then I am the co-founder of a Nasdaq listed company. It was a big commerce. So he was just asking me like, things about what my vision or my plan was for Copy Scouts, and I was just telling him that, I don't actually have any plans to sell, but I did indeed take into serious consideration his his offer to acquire, because when a co-founder of a Nasdaq listed company reaches out and wants to acquire you, it's more of a level of capability. Like, he has way more resources than I do. He has way more experience than I have. So what I thought about was, in terms of how far can I take Copy Scouts compared to how far can this guy take Copy Scouts. So he asked me, like how much would be good. So I just told him, I've spent some money cleaning up the code. I've spent some money buying the project in the first place. So as long as I cover that, I'm pretty happy. But I would like to maintain a role in Copy Scout. So that's why he just said, we managed to come to a deal, which was only confirmed, I think, maybe about 1 week after that. So we came to a deal, and he transferred the money right away, like straight away. I hadn't even begun transferring him any of the files. I got everything. So I was like, wow, okay, I gotta take this seriously. And I just started, as once I transferred everything to him, he mentioned some things that he wanted done. So I'm trying to also seal in my role as, I guess, to continue building the product as some kind of product manager, to take Copy Scouts to a new height. But it's more like a acqui-hire. Is that what they call it? Like they will acquire you but hire you. Yeah,
Oh,
so
he
that's
also
what I'm
hired
trying
you as
to.
well?
It's more of I wouldn't say officially hired, but just he gave me some plans for what he had in mind, and I told him I would take the lead to bring Copy Scouts. So I'm introducing new, I guess, some new features, better security, a new login, better packages and payment options. So something like that.
So you're still
But
managing
nothing
it
official
right
yet.
now.
In 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 a sense, just
In a
more in a
sense. Hmm.
development for before an official handover, I guess, and then he will decide whether I stay on, or whether I'm actually hired or not as a product manager. But either way, I mentioned to him, whether or not this actually happens, I'm super happy to be connected to him, to actually have the opportunity to grow Copy Scouts, before he came, and also get the chance to, introduce the features that he wants, and grow it even after getting acquired. So yeah,
So he
that's
found you
basically
on
the
side
journey.
projects?
If I'm not wrong, it was from side projectors, either that, or maybe it was from the previous listing from the
Hmm.
previous owner on another channel. Yeah, so when he reached out, he was actually
Hmm.
I actually mentioned to him already that I wasn't looking to sell, and
Yeah.
I think he I think he got the contact,
Hmm.
or he saw the website for sale based on the previous person's the creator's
Hmm.
listing.
Well, that's actually really cool because I feel like in that case, there's also a chance to get investments from side project. I mean, not just sell, but for example, he contacted you and like you could also be like oh I'm not interested in selling but I would take investments for example, right? And maybe he would be interested in that as well. So actually that actually makes me think to maybe upload my own projects to side projects as well, not for sale but just to get some visibility and maybe see like what offers are there maybe for investment or anything like that.
No,
you,
for
you know
for
what
sure, for sure.
I mean, your story is actually like incredibly interesting, and I was just listening, all the way, and it's very interesting. So the first thing that catched my mind is that copyscouts.com is such a cool name, actually. Yeah, I mean, but this name was bought from by the guys that you bought it from, right? The original founders, the original creator, it's his name, correct?
Yep. Yep, correct. I didn't even come up or register the domain or anything. So everything in entirety was transferred to me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
I mean.
all I did was a bit of maintenance, tried to clean up the
Mhm.
code a bit, got somebody to do that, and then relaunched on all these platforms. But you mentioned getting investments and all these from side projectors and listings. I completely support that. Like I definitely think it will work. I've actually, over the past couple weeks and months since I started that, also, from time to time reach out to listings on side projectors and say, would you like to collaborate? This is my background. What if I can take your product to growth, or something like that? And they actually reach out and say, oh, I'm looking for investments. I'm happy to work with a non-technical founder, blah blah blah. Tell me how you can grow it. And I'll tell them about Copy Scouts. And then, so far, I do have one collaborator with a technical founder. We're going to be releasing an HR tech tool soon, but I can't say too much yet. I don't know whether he'll be comfortable with it. But sorry, I cut you off halfway. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, 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 it's okay. Yeah. So first of all, I think from the start, the name was great. So that's already that's already good for the project. I'm actually surprised how good the name was because I was thinking copyscouts.com would be already taken or would cost a lot of money. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Another thing that I was also thinking about, you said that you published it on many different p- websites where you publish products like Product Hunt, Beta List, and things like that. Was that useful for you? Like, did you get any traction from those sites?
Okay, so I had some basic analytics in the site that I put up myself, and after launching, I still found that probably on Product Hunt and site projectors, I got the best reception, viewership, or any kind of traffic driven into the platform. I did have a lot of success, especially with indie hackers and Reddit. So the viewership over 2 weeks from launch went from 0 to 2,000 unique visitors on the website to, I think the max it was about 3 or 4 thousand. Yeah, yeah, and all that was, in the analytics was just coming from side projectors, Reddit, indie hackers, product hunt.
So
Very
what
few
exactly did
from
you do
from
on
the
indie
rest.
hackers? Like on indie
Oh,
hackers, how did
bas-
you get people to visit the site?
I mean, I just created my account. I wrote my passions. I created a post and I said, I'm an aspiring solo entrepreneur. I just started this site, and please take a look at it. Copy Scouts, it's going to help you with all sorts of copywriting tools or content marketing requirements. If you're a writer, you have a blog, or even want to just write up product descriptions, website copy, all these kinds of
Mhm.
things. You can just try me out. There's a free trial, but of course, if you're happy to pay, also please do. I don't think I The only thing I think is a bit of a shame is that I don't think I ran Copy Scouts long enough, because I got acquired within the span of about a month. So, a month after launching it, just trying to maintain it, clean up the code, and then launching it, it didn't take, I didn't get too much of an opportunity to really grow it and see, what my MRR or like kind of revenue I could bring in was. So that's the only thing. So I can't really say yes, indie hackers or side projectors and all these product pages were a big success, because at the end of the day I only had it for this long. Yeah, but I'll definitely agree or attest that it does bring up your viewership. I went from zero to a few thousand anyway. So that's at least my take on what on these listings
So
can do.
my thoughts on this type of listings like Product Hunt, Beta List, and like sites like Indie Hackers or Reddit, I feel like they're good to get you started, to get your initial users, maybe initial customers, and to start people like to make people visit your page. But in the long run, if you want to build like a real company, you need some kind of marketing plan and like a marketing machine, I would say. And that includes, for example, being really good at SEO so that you rank high in Google, for example, or running
Mm,
constantly ads like on Instagram, I don't know, on Twitter, and just basically
mm,
constantly running ads to get people to visit your site. Because the thing is that with those sites is that they give you initial traction, but what happens next? Then the traction is going down, and you need to do something that constantly runs, that you keep getting new users. So that's
mhm,
why I always saw that, for example, doing things like building public in Twitter, it's a good way to start, but it's not going to like make your product into a real company, because it gives you some initial marketing. But what happens later, right? You need to keep doing some other things, I feel like. I mean, obviously, like you can be lucky in some cases, and it can actually bring you a lot of traffic. For example, I know a guy who was building a tool specifically for Twitter, like analytics. And I think the only thing that he did was just promoting himself on Twitter using building public, and he managed to
mm.
grow a nice business. But that's because his tool is specifically for Twitter, right? So that's a little bit of a different case. If you are building things that are for other things and not only for Twitter, then you need to do like lots of other marketing as well. What are your thoughts on that? Have you thought of? Do you actually have any experience doing other type of marketing, like SEO, running ads?
Okay, so actually, in my even my full-time job right now, how we go about things is to try it with zero ad spend. So to answer your question, no, actually, I have had zero paid ads or any kind of paid marketing. I think the
Mhm.
most that we have invested right now in my full-time job is hiring a video maker to make a video for our company. But apart from that, I think every other aspect of digital marketing, before you even get started on paying, is a very important step. Because you want to get your brand out there, you have to, like you say, rank on Google as well. The copywriting is very important to get your good SEO, your search engine optimization. So how I did that for Copy Scouts was, basically, actually, I had an integrated tool where I could just change the front end copy just by clicking on it on my local device. So that was actually very easy for me to run any A/B tests. I would just quickly change up the front end copy and see which actually really works better with the audience. There's also Google Optimize that helps you do these A/B testing very easily. But yeah, if you are running on a budget, I do believe that it is still very doable.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, yeah, and yeah, I really believe that marketing, of course, at some point after your launch, it would be a good idea to get some ad spend. So I don't know, actually, come to think of it, I did spend some money on Copy Scouts. I did actually do that. Sorry, I forgot. I created an Instagram account for Copy Scouts. And after posting for about a week, Instagram said, here's $10 free credits. So I took that $10 credits and I think I topped up probably $20. So a total of
Mhm.
$30 on ad spend, which also brought I think about a few thousand over the span of 3 weeks, a few thousand people in and out looking at the Copy Scouts Instagram page and also linking to the website straight. So that was, yeah, that's probably the one-off time I ever had ad spend. Yes.
Yeah, I do like you said about Instagram. I've tried Instagram ads before as well, and depending on the product and if you do right, it can actually work. But it doesn't work for all types of products. But it's a good thing to test at least. What I wanted to
For
ask
sure.
is, so at your current job, is it like a B2B? Do you sell to businesses or
Yeah,
yes?
so definitely yeah, it's a B2B only. The maritime, the shipping stakeholders involved are always any of the decision makers are always based on the business front or enterprise level. So yeah, we only deal B2B.
Mhm. Yeah, the reason why I ask is because, for example, when you do B2B sales, I don't think you need to do, that type of paid advertisement or anything like that because you're not advertising to just random customers. These are actually specific
Hmm.
businesses that you want to sell to. So I guess the right strategy would be to just directly contact the businesses. I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you do more sales or marketing?
So my it's a very lean startup. So really, I wear many hats. I do the customer
Yeah.
service, the operations,
Mhm.
operating the platforms that we run, the sales and the marketing. So on a marketing level, it's more of very simple email marketing, cold calling,
Mhm.
and door to door outreach. So on a I prefer, especially for B2B, to actually be physically present so I can build some rapport. So I will always knock on the doors. I will just go out of the office and go and knock. But apart from that,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that would bring in the sales part of my job a lot closer to the marketing side. But I think it comes hand in hand, right? You can't really do sales without some level of
Yeah.
marketing. Yeah.
So the reason why I'm asking is because, for example, with the projects that I'm currently working on, Beep, it's first of all B2B. There are also some things that just random people can get. Like it's also I can also sell it to just customers, but it's more focused on B2B, and
Mm.
I have never done B2B sales, so I don't know why it sounds a little bit scary to me. Not scary, but it sounds a little bit like hard to me. How do you sell to a company? Like there are so many people that you need to talk to.
Hmm.
You need to talk to the manager. You need to talk to other manager. You need to talk to the CEO. And I don't even know where to start. Like you just write a cold email, and then you call them. You reach out to them on Twitter. I don't know, but I guess you have more experience than me in that because you have at least tried to do that. And what was the experience with that? Like, Have it worked? Just writing cold emails or just calling them, or what do you think worked?
I I I I read online a lot, and they always say that emails or cold emails are the best kind of marketing. But for some reason,
Hmm.
every email I send does not get received well. I generally don't get a single reply. So I don't know how much I agree to what I see online. I feel what's best is, I mean, just preparing yourself for the worst, the worst, because generally, yes, you're right. It takes so many levels to approve any solution for a company. But that's also why when I think you create a product, it should be as easy as possible to implement, to adopt, with a direct benefit. But yeah, out of the probably 500 companies that I go out and reach out to and try to do my sales with, probably over the past 2 3 years, only maybe 4 or 5 of them have actually adopted what I have to offer. Maybe,
Okay.
but what I think is important is just developing the relationship. Sometimes it takes very long for a company to trust you, or
Hmm.
for the general manager to trust you. I do agree B2B is heavily relationship or trust based. So even though I might
Hmm.
not have sold to this general manager once, I still regularly meet up with him, or try to, when I'm in the area, go and buy him a coffee or buy him some bread, just simple things, so that one day, maybe in 2 years time, if his manage on a even higher upper management level, they say, hey, we're looking for a digital system, I'm the first person that will come to his mind. That's
Hmm.
the goal. So I've had, I think, one or two people call me, just like long after I reached out to them, just saying, Justin, I remember you spoke to me the last time. Now our bosses want to see what you have to offer, and that makes my day. But it's definitely a much slower sales process than if it was
Hmm.
B2C or direct to consumer. Definitely, for sure.
But do you know? I don't know if you know like all the sales in your company and things like that. But do you know what is the number one channel where you're getting sales? Like the number one strategy that your company uses to get new customers?
I I would assume that it is just from this relationship building, and actually going out and meeting and constantly discussing the benefit, or just building on the relationship. I'm actually the
Hmm.
only salesperson up until recently in the company. We just hired a CSO. So every every sale that has been made is by me. So,
Oh, okay.
and I, yeah, so it's pretty funny. So actually, yeah, that's how generally it works. Apart from that, the
Hmm.
other bigger contracts are made by the bosses of the company, who have an existing relationship with a certain stakeholder that is finally
Hmm.
willing to give it a trial or a pilot. So
Hmm.
for those, I don't interfere, but all the organic sales that I make is generally through those mediums, which is just building on the relationship.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much your product costs, but if your product costs a lot, then just even having a few customers should be enough to, I don't know, maybe break even or maybe just keep going.
Mm.
So yeah, it all depends obviously how much the product costs. Obviously, the higher it costs and the higher the company needs to invest, the harder is it to sell to them. And yeah, I feel like in like shipping business it's probably something like that, because like you're selling them your software, so it's a lot of investment from them, not only in terms of
Mm-hmm.
money but also probably in terms of time and learning and so
Yeah.
on. So that's why it makes things even harder for you to sell to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm planning to do actually, like for example for my own company, I was thinking mainly to start selling to smaller companies and start reaching out to them through Twitter, because there are many CEOs, there are many startup founders on Twitter, and I was thinking it would be probably a good way for me to at least reach out to them and get started like that. So that's my first strategy that I'm planning to do. I don't know if it's going to work, obviously, but that's the first thing that I'm planning to do. Yeah, and then probably is
Yeah.
cold emails, and I don't know what's next. So
Yeah. I actually think that's a great idea. Twitter outreach, especially if you get to CEOs that are within the community of supporting these build in public or these solo entrepreneurs, then you might find yourself getting your first few customers for BeatLit
Mhm.
very easily. But your idea to also go to small and medium enterprises or businesses, I think, is also great, because for much smaller companies, they might have a much bigger need for these tools that you have to offer. There's also a not as long a chain of command for you to to get approved. And
Yeah.
thirdly, you can offer it to them. It's something that they can use. You can offer them this resource at a much more affordable level, something that they can
Mhm.
adopt more easily. Of course, the I think pricing is very important, right? If I'm planning to only be adopted by MNCs, then my pricing strategy would be very different from if I'm creating a product for small and medium enterprises, because their their capacity to afford my solution will be very different. So that's one thing to think about, at least for when we come up with products. What we're trying to do is level the playing field, because large companies will have no problem adopting anything in terms of price generally. But smaller companies, those that actually want the tools that are available, that these startups and
Mhm.
horizontal SaaS or vertical SaaS creators are producing it for the market, is that they can't really afford it if it's priced for an MNC. So I think, yeah, those two ideas that you had are definitely good ideas, and you will probably find your first few paying customers in those avenues. I really don't think there will be much of an issue. You are active on Twitter. You are building your own following. People see
Mhm.
that, even if you follow a CEO out of the blue, he will see that you didn't just sign up last week. What you've been
Yeah.
doing has been in the works for a long time. You're not just a random guy trying to make a quick dollar.
Yeah.
That's opening up the conversation is the hardest part, right? Really
Mhm.
actually getting somebody to notice what you're doing, and then from there, I think there is some level of trust, and then adoption just comes almost naturally.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said, that there's the trust is going to be there once I have some outreach and so on. So I also want to share one, also another, like I would call it like a sneaky strategy, and I think you could also use it. I don't know if it, with shipping business, but maybe with some other products that you would work on. So there are websites, and I don't know how many of them. I have seen only two that have a list of startups that just got fundraising, that just got money investments. And the list get
Oh.
updated, and they tell you, what is the startup doing, how much money they got, what they are looking for, and like what is the email of the CEO and so on. And the reason why it's so cool, because you can just they got money, so you can just directly contact them and be like, hey, I heard you will be looking for this thing, do you need any help or something like that. So
Very
I
sneaky.
yeah, yeah, very sneaky. But at the same time,
What
it's
is it
not
called?
like, so I don't remember exactly the name of the website. I have seen two of them, but I would have to do research to find exactly the link.
Okay.
I forgot. Yeah, if you probably just type in, like, who raised money list or who raised money website, maybe something like that, it would probably come up. Yeah, I mean, obviously it is sneaky, but at the same time, it's not like you're doing something bad. It's like you're trying to offer them your
Yeah, yeah.
service, and like if they don't want to buy, they just don't buy. It's that simple. You're
Yep.
not so. Yeah, but that's
Oh,
something you could also use.
that just, yeah. Thank you, thank you. That actually just brought to mind one tool that I use personally when I'm trying to find company leads. So, since you said your product is more B2B, you might find it hard to get the emails of CEOs. Yeah, I mean, you use that website. If you do find it, please tag me on your Twitter and tell me what it is. But
Okay.
I generally use LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn there's a Google Chrome extension called Lucia. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I've
So
heard of that.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah. Once you sign up on Lucia, if you go to a LinkedIn profile, it pulls out the data if it's accessible, and it just gives you like phone numbers, personal emails, and work emails. And I use that quite a bit. Every month you get free credits, and I think it's probably one of the best tools I've ever used just to get random people's numbers.
Wow. That's
It's a
pretty
very good
cool,
tool.
actually. Yeah. I wonder where they're getting their data from. That's the first question
Yeah,
that, you know, yeah, it's like, I wonder if, so you said that you signed up. Did you
yeah. So
also
I'm pretty
show
sure
like a
they get
LinkedIn
it. I'm
profile and
pretty
everything?
Yeah, I think so. So I'm pretty sure they get your data from also from people that sign up, but also
Yeah.
from maybe mailing lists or other, I guess, participating
Open
websites or
sources.
accounts where,
Yeah.
yeah, some certain sources, or maybe they even have a web scraper that goes to the company website
Yeah.
that they're employed at and pulls whatever phone number they have. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
actually looked into it, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised it doesn't break any like privacy laws, but I guess it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. It would be funny if they actually get your data from the registration. It would be like, we will show you data of other people, but we will show your data to other people as well. So agree,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. I mean, that's something I'm willing to give up. If people can have my number, I rather they call me for sales rather than I have to reach out to them.
Yeah, that's not too bad, actually. That's true. So I told you that before, but I'm currently planning to change the name of the podcast, and
Hmm.
I've like I got positive but also some negative feedback about the name. I'm also not a very big fan of the name. The only reason I had it is because I thought it was good for marketing. So I want to share with you four names, and I want to
Okay.
hear which one you like the most. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Go
So
ahead.
let me open my Twitter. I have them saved here. So the first one is my big hustle.
My big
Just
hustle.
my big hustle.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is go getters. Do you know what is? Do you know what go getter means?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay, go getters. The third one is imperfect startup, and
Mm-hmm.
the last one is hustler's pulse. Pulse. I
Pulse.
don't know how to pronounce pulse. Yeah,
Okay.
hustler's
Okay.
pulse. So yeah, this is the four names. Do you like any of them? Like, is there a name that you think sounds cool?
I do really like Go Getters.
Go
I really
getters.
like the sound of Go Getters. Also, like it kind of sets the tone of what your podcast will be like.
Yeah.
How you view the people that come onto your podcast to speak. How you view these kinds of what you're doing as well. I like Go Getters a lot. The last one you said was Hustler's Pulse, was it?
Yeah, hustler's pulse. Yeah,
Okay, okay. That's also a bit
hustler's
interesting,
pulse.
but definitely
Hmm.
Go Getters is my number one.
Go getters, but and an imperfect startup. You also think go getters is better, right?
Yeah, Go Getters number one.
Go getters is number
Okay.
one.
No, actually, Imperfect Startup is nice too, but I would put it above Hustler's Pulse. I would put
About
Imperfect
hustler's
Startup
pulse.
over.
Okay.
So Go Getters
Yeah,
one, Imperfect Startup two, three is the Hustler's Pulse, and what was
and
the first
the
one that
last
you
one
said?
might be hustle.
My Big Hustle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Go
Yeah.
Getters definitely is something that I
Mhm.
will remember off the bat immediately, and it's something catchy.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm actually between the two, between Go Getters and Imperfect Startup, because most people said that they like one of them, and I'm still thinking because I have searched for Go Getters, and there are actually already some podcasts called Go Getters because it's a cool
Mm,
name. So that's why that's also another reason why I'm still thinking about it, because like when someone's going to search Go Getters on Spotify, they will get a few podcast names. So I'm
mm,
thinking whether that's good or bad. So
mm,
yeah, so still thinking about that, what to do, and which one to choose exactly.
that's true. But would they rank it in terms of viewership? Let's say if it's the same name, that means how many
Yeah, I
plays they
don't.
have,
Hmm, I don't know
or
that
who's
actually. I
newer?
don't know
Yeah.
how they rank. Yeah, I don't know how they
Mm,
rank. Are there
okay.
any podcasts that you listen to?
Oh, actually, I don't listen, or I only listen to when my girlfriend is listening to Rotten Mango. So it's
What,
this,
Rotten
I don't know
Mango?
if, yeah, yeah, Rotten Mango. It's this Asian girl that just talks about these unsolved or really gruesome crimes or murders in history. Yeah, it's very interesting the way the way she does it. She just tells the story of, and some of them they're really crazy stories. If you get a chance to go and listen to maybe just any random one, it's called Rotten
Wow.
Mangoes on Spotify.
Okay, yeah, I love crime stories, detective stories. Sounds very interesting, actually. Yeah, and I mean, then in that case, this will probably be the first podcast that you will listen to. I don't know, maybe at least to see how you look here and how you sound.
Oh, I'm very
Like
excited.
people go and check themselves after how you sound and so on. So yeah,
I don't like how I sound in the microphone, but I'll definitely check out and
no, no,
I'll
no,
spread.
yeah, you sound fine. You sound fine. And so, are you located in Singapore?
Yes, I'm born in Singapore. I'm a Singaporean, and I currently
Mhm.
live here.
So English is like your first language, right?
Yes, English is our first language, but it is actually not the national language. The official language in Singapore, if I'm not wrong, is Malay, but
Mhm.
ethnically I am Chinese. So my,
Mhm.
my, my mother tongue, my second language is Mandarin.
Mandarin. And so you said official language is Mali. Is it
Malay,
is
yep.
it Mali? Is it an because I know Singapore like borders with Indonesia. So I'm wonder, is it like Indonesian language? Is it close to it, or is it a total different thing?
Okay, we're actually almost pretty much connected to Malaysia. So
Oh, Malaysia, not Indonesia. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, Malaysia. So that's the language, but oh, this is where things get a bit complicated. I don't think, yeah, a Malaysian is still from Malaysia, but ethnic an ethnic Malay would speak Malay in Singapore, but he will not be Malaysian. Yeah, so it's something that many people around the world, it's a concept that can get quite complicated where you're from
Mhm.
is not necessarily your ethnicity, I guess. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Singaporean,
obviously.
but yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes people say, you're Chinese means you're from China. So I'm not, I'm Chinese, but I'm Singaporean Chinese, something like that. So it can get a bit confusing for some.
But do you know Malay?
I have learned a bit of Malay, but very conversational. But
Mhm.
no, I can't say that I know how to speak it.
Mhm.
I
But
can probably ask for directions or for a toilet or buy
okay.
food, but yeah,
But do you need that language in Singapore? I mean, can you just speak English, or do you
of course,
need
yeah.
Malay?
No, 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 no. Almost everyone, yeah, actually, basically everyone in my generation and the previous generation can definitely speak English. You can definitely get around
Mhm.
just speaking English. Yeah, probably only maybe my grandparents' generation would have some trouble with if you spoke English to them. But by now,
But
no issue at all.
what about the government? Like you said, the official language is Malay. So I'm just
Hmm.
wondering, like, are all the papers in like Malayan language? Does the government speak that language mainly, or do they also
Okay,
do everything in English?
no, everything is in English. Hold on, let me just try to fact check right now, just in
Yeah.
case I
Like,
just in case I
yeah, like
speak lies.
for example, you want to open a company, and in which language do you fill in the form?
Okay. So basically, this is Google answering. The national language is Malay, but the official languages we have four. We have English, Malay, Mandarin Chinese, and Tamil.
Okay, so official language there are
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
multiple. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
correct. So
Yeah.
so the papers and all that, they are published in English, but we also have a Malay paper, we have a Tamil paper, we have a Chinese Mandarin paper as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, but the road signs, billboards, everything else in public, generally in English. You will either see
Okay.
it in English or they will have a just include all the languages.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And you also studied in English at school?
Yes, you study in English. Yeah, I think there are specifically Chinese schools or Malay schools that
Hmm.
actually conduct lessons in the mother tongue.
Hmm.
But in general, yes, all lessons
Hmm.
in school, just growing up, primary, secondary, junior college, university, they are all in English
Hmm.
in general.
Yeah, I'm very curious about places in general. And have you been to like many other places like besides Singapore, like other countries, cities?
So as a kid, I traveled quite a lot.
Mhm.
Just my parents had quite a bit of work and the opportunity to take us on holidays. So I've been around most of the places in Southeast Asia. I actually used to live in France.
Mhm.
I spent about a year in France. I studied in Paris, but I lived north of Paris, so I can speak a bit of French.
Okay.
And yeah, and apart from that, a few years ago, I went to London for the first time, and I pretty much, I liked it a lot. But um, yeah, where you're from Azerbaijan? Is that how do I don't know
I'm
really
from
how to
Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know anything
yeah,
about that place.
yeah. It's okay. Not many people do. So it's like it's like Wakanda. People don't know it exists. But it's
No, I know it exists, but I don't know what the culture is like. I don't know,
yeah,
what is the main languages you speak. How is it like, in Azerbaijan?
yeah. So, well, the main languages are on like Azerbaijani. So the
Azerbaijani.
national and official language. But many people also can speak here Turkish and Russian, and that's because
Okay,
it's a post-Soviet country. So we were like in Soviet Union, but before the 90s, and
okay,
but we're also like a Turkic country. So our language is very similar to Turkish language. So we are
okay.
bordering Turkey and Russia and Iran. So yeah, not the best neighbors, but
Uh,
but I mean, except Turkey. Turkey is fine. What else? Yeah, it's primarily it's not very religious. I mean, the main religion is like Muslim religion, but it's
okay,
most people actually are like atheists. I don't know how to
okay.
atheists. I don't know how to call them. Like basically,
Atheist, atheist.
not
Yeah.
very religious. Yeah, not very
Okay, I
religious.
see.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. You know,
okay, cool.
so I was wondering, you probably consider Singapore like to be the best city in the world? Like, do you see Singapore as the best city in the world, or what do you think about that?
I think Singapore is an extremely stable society. I think it's a very well maintained country.
Mhm.
You're so safe in Singapore. It's also a bustling city. If you're a businessman, coming here would be a very good option also. And
Mhm.
just in general, I think it's a very good place to be. But being very small, do you know how small Singapore is?
Yeah, yeah, I know how small. I know that it's like city country. I
It's
know. I'm pretty good with geography.
okay.
I know.
Singapore is actually, I think, from left to right, it's about one marathon long. It's only about 42 kilometers, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
So it's really very, very short. It's 50 kilometers from left to right.
Mhm.
So as you can imagine, it's so extremely small that I have a lot of friends that don't enjoy being here because they say after a while it gets very boring because there's not much to do, you know.
Yeah,
But
I get it.
I quite
Yeah.
disagree. I quite disagree. I think that, even if I go to London or any much bigger place, it's not like I will be traveling every day. I
Yeah.
I think Singapore is home to a lot of opportunity. It's
Yeah.
somewhere where I would want to start a family and
Yeah.
to have my kids grow up because it's just
Yeah.
so safe. I don't really have to worry about unemployment
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
going homeless. There's the government is very strong. The dollar is very strong, and our passport
Mhm.
is also probably top 3 or 5 in the world.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So I don't know about best place to be. I kind of
No,
get
I mean,
quite
like for
comfortable
you, like you
wherever I
consider.
am.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, regarding the thing, like you said that your friends getting bored, I feel like there are so many cool cities near Singapore. I mean, like for example, you
Yep.
can usually go like to like and cool countries in general. You can usually go like to Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia. Each of them have like cool
Yep.
cities to be, and you can just
Exactly.
travel around. You can also probably go to Australia and go back. I don't know
Yep.
how much airplane tickets cost there, but you probably have some like cheap jet airlines that you can get cheap tickets to just go for a weekend and come back and just have some
Yep.
fun. So I think that would be a good thing. So how do you think, like, so you said that it's very safe, but do you think, like, in terms of social aspects, in terms of social security, do you think it compares well to what what is happening in like Sweden, Norway, Finland, because these countries are known to have like a very good social security, like Sweden, Finland,
Mm.
and Norway, and so on. So, do you think Singapore is somewhere near it, or
Oh, that's a very, very good question. That oh, that would need a bit more preparation. Actually, I think you know the publicity of what Sweden and Norway and all these. I think Finland is also probably one of the countries. How they seem. I don't know if Singapore can compare. I've never been there
yeah,
myself to those
yeah,
places, so I really don't know. At this point, I have trouble believing the media when they publicize something. But I do believe that there is a very high level of social security in Sweden or
in
Finland or
Singapore?
Norway. In Singapore, I think yes, I would definitely think that there is a high level as well.
Mm.
You really don't have to be too worried about any kind of social issues in general. Even I hear that in Norway or one of those places also you get free education, or at least the gap between the rich and the poor is not so high. Everybody lives kind of pretty well. In Singapore, I don't think that's true. I think that the wage, the wealth gap is very big. But then
Mm.
again, even the poorest,
They have an okay
I'm not
life.
so certain, but I think I really can't say they have an okay life, but you hardly see too many homeless people. In fact,
Mhm.
usually the government takes homeless people and puts them in welfare homes. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, in general, the lower income line is still much more well off than say in the US. I would say
Yeah.
in the US, I've heard it's pretty bad. I've never been there, but it sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah, yeah, I know. I've
Yeah,
heard that as well.
yeah.
Good. So, is there anything else that you want to add? because it has been almost an hour and we talked about many interesting
Oh
things.
wow.
So I wonder
Oh wow, I
if
didn't
there's
realize we
anything that
talked
you
for an
want to
hour.
add.
Wow, actually, not really. I mean, since you got talking about what it's like in in Sweden, Norway, Singapore, it just made me a bit more curious about Azerbaijan. I want. So what languages do you speak? Sorry, really quickly.
Well, I do speak Azerbaijani, but I can also speak Russian pretty fluently. I do speak English, but I have also
Okay.
lived in Germany, so I do speak German as well. So,
Wow.
but there are also many
Okay.
other languages that I can understand because, for example, Turkish is very similar to Azerbaijani language, so I can understand Turkish language. I can understand many of the languages from Central Asia, like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and
Okay.
all of these countries that end with stan. They're all like Turkic countries. So I can understand
Mm-hmm.
the language pretty well. And then I can also
Wow.
understand the languages that are similar to Russian, like
Yeah.
Ukrainian, Belarusian, and I don't know any other languages, and like that are similar to that. So I do.
Very
There are a
nice.
few basic languages I know, but there are like I can understand quite a few languages. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I feel like you've covered a a very a very big amount of languages. So yeah, I only speak, maybe three at most. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
mean,
Mandarin is also very widely used. So
yeah, 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 for sure. I mean, but it's also because China is just very, very, very big, and yeah, you got a lot of people using Chinese as well, Mandarin as well. Taiwan, generally Hong Kong they use Cantonese, but yeah, yeah, China's just very big.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, so on that note, I think we can, finish the podcast. It was
Oh yeah,
nice talking to you. Just don't close the tab yet because it's like this is the way this thing works. It's uploading everything on to the cloud, and I will just click
okay,
stop, but don't close the tab yet because it needs to finish uploading. Okay, and
okay, got it,
yeah,
got
it
it.
was nice
Thank you
talking
so
to
much
you,
for having me.
and yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem.